Hello everyone, Genghiswolves from Oops Stuff Giraffe here, and today we're going to make a review of the TVP 5051. Now before we hop in-game, I'm going to give a quick overview of the stats in Garage. Don't worry, it shouldn't take too long. TVP only has 1,800 hit points, which is the lowest of all tier 10s, not RTs, same as a Batchat. You have a top speed of 60 km per hour and a traverse speed of 54 degrees per second with a horsepower to weight of around 25, which makes the tank not as fast in a straight line as a Batchat, and I would compare the mobility more to a Leopard. However, it remained really agile and is way more agile and fast than, for example, 140 or E50M or STB1, all those normal mediums, was really only the Batchat being faster. The hood armor and the turret armor are both pretty much butter. However, I feel like the tracks eat up a lot of shells. You will sometimes get lucky bounces out of these shoulders. As I said, lucky bounces, don't count on them. And the turret having these really weird angles, this weirdly shaped mantlet and stuff like that. Although it's bad armor, you will bounce shells randomly. It's got better armor than the Leopard or Batchat just by the fact that you bounce more shells for like no reason. But still, do not count on this thing having armor. Otherwise, what really makes out this tank, as you probably all know, is a gun, which has 4 shots with an interclip reload of 1.5 seconds, meaning that it can empty its clip in 4.5 seconds, with a complete magazine reload with rations and vents and so on of around 22 seconds. Accuracy is of 0.35 and the aim time is of 2.1, which means that you do aim slightly slower than you clip, but the accuracy on the move is pretty good, and at short to medium ranges you don't really have an issue of just firing every time you're loaded. You will be nearly fully aimed. Otherwise, one of the biggest disadvantages of the tank is the penetration, with only 248 on the AP and 310 on the heat, APCR, which you do notice a difference to compared to more higher penetration guns, such as for example the E50M, which has 270 with APCR, aka 22 more, and yeah. You will notice the differences, for example, on heavily armored lower plates such as the i7 or the E100. Not much else to say, let's have a look at some. So, to take that away straight from the beginning, this was not the best TVP game ever, or anything like that, although obviously it was a decent game, but I think it shows the strengths of the tank pretty well and how you should play it, which is why it shows this one. We are on Westfield. The matchup is pretty high with tier 10s, with, let me count real quick, 1, 2, 3, 8 tier 10s per side, plus an RT more for us, a couple tier 9s and a couple poor tier 8s, which I'm pretty happy I am not. There are 2 RTs per side, 1 tier 8, 1 tier 10, both tier 10 RTs being Batchat RTs, which can be really annoying. On this map, I'm personally a huge fan of moving up into the heavy corner, or what I call the heavy corner, this open space over here, in basically every tank, as long as there isn't like 5 RTs, because I feel it's the best position to outplay your enemies, keep doing damage into all areas, being it here, being it just in front of you, or even down into the city. As you are on the highest part of the map, you can also quickly relocate down to over here, if you need to support anyone. I go up and I found a T-34 which I can clip, so he just fired. I go over, take him out, which is not something you should get used to in your TVP. With only 1,280 damage per clip on average, there is not a lot of situations where you're going to be able to completely clip an enemy on your own. And most of the time you will need 2, if not even 3 clips against very high life enemies, or if you bounce 1-2 shells, which does happen a bit more often than you would like. However, you can see just how fast I'm reloaded. I was considering peeking over here to get some shots onto those guys, but there's a 268 which was spotted in the back, so I prefer to go for this T10 who was spotted moving up. I managed to get 3 shots into him, taking only 1 in return from the Object 432. I reload instantly, there's no point in keeping only 1 shell when your reload is of 20 seconds. And yeah, as you can see, the 268 in the back, as Rada was fearing earlier, you really have no HP at all. Like 1 268 shot is around 40% of your HP gone, like that. So it's really tank, you have to be very careful, because additionally to not having any HP, like a Batchat does, you also don't have the clipping power of a Batchat, which can take out a tier 9 medium or even tier 10 medium in one clip. To play this tank well, you have to use a decent gun depression. I think it's 8 degrees. Also, don't quote me on that, I could be wrong. And you need to keep peeking inside, use your mobility, and just do as much damage as you can before you take return shells. I think the clip on the 268 was pretty nice for showing the low penetration. With an E50M I would have been confident on penning every shell, or even with a 140 I would fire. With a TVP you're going to be at 2 or 3 shells penetrating out of 4 at those kind of medium to long ranges. Now there's a batchet over here, and I dodged until I'm reloaded, and now you can see just how powerful this really short interclip is, not even leaving him a chance to do a lot of damage to me before he just gets destroyed. On the other hand, of course, if the batchet would have been full knife, I would have done 1200 damage to him, and then he would have clipped me, if I wouldn't have been able to run. Now, the game is getting pretty close right now. The 268 fell back a lot, which is pretty nice, because it allows me to peek freely over here. But we are getting capped. I want to take out that 432, because otherwise he would have probably destroyed the Centurion Action X, and he would have been able to sit up over here, which, while we are fighting over here to decap, having a guy permanently shooting you in the back, and you can't really take care of him either, because he's just going to peek back over the ridge joint every time you aim at him. So it was really important to take that guy out before moving back to the decap, even if it was a bit risky, since we could have lost to cap. Lightweight in the open. I do not know where that shell went. Second one pens, third one misses, and the fourth one bounces. I guess I hit his tracks, because his upper plate at that angle I should have penned every time. Well, that's the way with this tank. And you can see, like, I'm already half, or over half reloaded, just by moving like 10 meters to the left, which is really awesome. You can see some strong ESL driving. Silence was a good teacher. And yeah, tracking yourself is not really the best thing. But by flanking around, I make sure he can't hide behind the building from me. I managed to take him out while the Centurion finishes off the Object 140. Game is pretty much won now, as long as we don't get clicked to death, since I still have enough HP to take a shot from the 268 at the moment. I'm just gonna move up, make sure there's no batchet already hiding here in the corner. Keep driving. Find the M40. Of course, he managed to click me. Get some ammo rack, but I still have my repair kit. I hide over here to be kind of arty safe, at least decently. Then keep moving up slowly. 268 gets put in front of me. I miss my shell. Kind of sad. If I would have gotten him, I would have gotten my Radley. Time to do some sexy arty dodging now. And that's that. TVP really is a tank which can work on any map because of its very good mobility. Even on city maps, you can just go forward, find a flank, get out your clip, reload, do it again, and on open maps like this it's just king, because you can quickly relocate wherever you need to be and keep doing damage without taking any. And yeah, let's have a look at some of the post-game results. As you can see, I got a not that surprising high caliber. I obviously got a top gun, 1 kill short of the Radley, which I only have myself to blame for. Was only a first class, but then again I only did 6.3k damage. I did do 1100 assisted damage, managed to do some decapping points. As you can see, I travelled quite a huge distance in that game, and I think which is always also kind of a thing to point out. Although I was shooting nearly only pretty light armor targets, I mean the most armored thing I shot was a 268. I did bounce a total of 4 shells in the end, some of them on the lightweight even. And it's really something I noticed multiple times with this tank, just like clipping a nice 7 in the flat lower plate and bouncing 2 out of 4 with APCR, which can be pretty infuriating, and I really recommend you take some heat. You don't have any ammo problems in this tank like you do in the Batchat, or at least not to the same degree. And I hope you could learn something from this. Thanks for watching. And